natural. All right, we are recording. Thank you guys for coming. This is Burn the Ship. The goal of Burn the Ship is to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help them go all in on their business. We want to meet with people that have walked the walk, talk the talk, and learn things. And from what I understand, we have a couple of guests today that have newly burned the ship and are working toward that success and working out some of those growing pains and kinks right now in business. And we love to hear those stories, and it's exciting to us. And hopefully we can connect you with some people that either make it easier, can bring some value, bring you some work, all of those things, kind of ease the pain because there is pain. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, introduce your business.
My name is Curt Hughes, and I'm one of the co-founders of Ripple Videos, and I appreciate you having us on. We've never experienced something like this, so it's always cool to experience new things.
No, thank you for coming. Absolutely.
And I'm Patrick Blonsky, also a partner with Curt with Ripple Videos. I mostly handle the production side of things.
All right, nice. And what do you guys do? What is Ripple Videos?
So I would say we create video content for people to kind of tell their story. I feel like a lot of ads these days, they're just pretty straightforward, like some sort of thing on what they do and then a call to action. But what we like to do is actually get to know that person, how they're similar to what you're doing right now, like getting to know our upbringing. We like to do that for other people and put that into like a cinematic movie for them so that people can get to know them before they even meet them.
Sure. So you're working with businesses?
Yeah.
All types of businesses. What are some of the industries that you've worked with so far?
So some of the main industries that we worked with so far is like the beauty industry. We worked with this place called Aya Medical Spa where we did a lot of things for like cool sculpting and just like other cosmetic procedures for them. And we've also done just some things on the side as like passion projects, but mainly as of now, just like the beauty and health industry is what we've been mainly focusing on.
Sure. Well, tell me a story. Tell me how you guys landed here. What was kind of the idea and the driver behind going all in on your business?
So the main factor was me, Patrick, and our other partner, Zane. We all used to work for the same company. And while we learned a lot there and it was a great experience overall, we kind of realized that if we're going to be working this hard for someone else when we're good at this anyway, we can probably do it ourselves. So that's kind of like what set the tone for us all. I left first because I kind of wanted to do my own thing. Then Zane and Patrick slowly followed suit. And once we were all pretty much freelancing alone, we were like, hey, let's form a business together. So that's kind of how everything started out.
Sure. And so where are you now? How long have you guys been doing this and kind of what are some of your goals?
So we've been doing this since last year, January, I would say, was when we began. And as of now, I mean, we're doing pretty well. I'm not going to say that we're doing exceptionally well by any means because we're figuring things out as we go. We're relatively new. But I would say the goal is just to have this hire employees, just be a full-fledged business because it's just been us three for the past year and a half. We did try to bring some interns on and it didn't really work out, but our main goal is just to bring this business as high up as possible and just pretty much have it for a lifetime.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, being that we are in the business space and wanting to be here, I think there's an aspect too of, not just wanting to make money, but sincerely wanting to help businesses grow. Right. And so like using our talents and what we're good at to tell other people's stories, in like he said, a cinematic fashion so that they have like a larger reach and things like that. So we're definitely trying to build more of a partnership and stuff with other businesses opposed to like just a one done deal and move on. Like good luck with the video that we just sent you, right? So like we really want to be a partner with them, not just another vendor.
Sure. What made you like, what was the driver to want to do your own thing?
The driver to want to do our own thing, for me personally, I've just worked for a lot of corporations, and as hard as you work, I mean, you're replaceable by corporations, and it just feels so much more fulfilling to do something for yourself, especially when you already have the work ethic to be able to do it. So that, for me personally, has just made me want to create an own business.
Sure. What about yourself?
I mean, similar to what he said, but also, I don't know. I like a challenge. I like being able to solve things creatively, and I think at some point when you work at corporate for so long, it just becomes a little bit stagnant. And sometimes you might want to reach and ask for more work at corporations or be more involved, but usually just do more of what you've already been doing, opposed to like things. So I mean, I just like being involved more.
Fresh challenge every day.
Yeah, and feeling like I'm a part of something and actually building something opposed to just arriving and
Sure.
leaving and
Sure.
And variety is the
Clocking in,
spice of
clocking
life,
out.
you know?
Oh yeah, for
Like
sure.
we can choose whatever project we want to work on. Like most video corporations, they have one specific niche that they just stick to and follow. But if we want to do a video for anyone, we can.
Sure, absolutely. So tell me what's been going well. What do you guys think you've been doing well? What are some of your strengths so far?
I think some of the strengths that we've had so far is that we have kind of gotten people to break out their shell and actually tell us their story. A lot of people, when you know, try to get to know them, especially meeting them first, they're kind of rigid and they just want like a set thing, like, oh, I just want my video to be this way and a call to action. But we've tried to bring out those people and their personalities in their videos. So I'd say that's something that we've done really well so far, and just actually making sure that our videos are helping people. Because similar to what Patrick was saying earlier, we could do a video and just be done with people, but that's kind of a scummy thing to do. We actually want to make sure that our videos are helping people grow their business as well, because in turn that grows our business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. No, I get that for sure. And you know, part of the strengths is identifying who you are as people as well. You know, identifying what's important to you, identifying what you have in common with the people that you're working with. What's kind of your growth strategy? You know, how are you going to keep touching the people that you want to touch, and how are you going to kind of push your business forward on the sales side?
So we just keep constantly following up with people that we've already done videos for, just reaching out on LinkedIn. We've recently started to realize that we need to utilize social media more, because we kind of have been lacking in that aspect. And just, we know how to make our own videos, so we know how to make our own like advertisements and stuff like that. So we just want to focus on doing that, reaching out to people more, just seeing how people are doing in general, seeing if we can help them out.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's basically just living out the message that we preach at the same time, because like telling other people like, hey, you need to put out content, and just like living by what we say. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What's the where'd you decide on Ripple Videos?
Like the name of it?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like a drawing out of a hat thing. There were 3 different company names, and Ripple just landed the best. And it was actually because one of my buddies decided with the slogan "Make a Splash," and I was just like, "Oh yeah, that lands. Let's roll with
Yeah,
that."
good enough. Yeah, I'm kind of like you. The marketing, not the marketing, the branding side of things is short-lived in my brain. It certainly is. You know, we picked this podcast name, I think all of it in about 5 minutes, and rode with it. So, you know, that I think that the brand is important, but it's more important that it resonates with the value that you see your product bringing with the people that you're working from. Are you guys from here locally?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
I've been in Roswell pretty much my entire life.
Oh, really? No kidding. And what about yourself?
I mean, I live in the Decatur area right now, but I moved to Atlanta from the Philadelphia area about 5-6 years ago now.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've been here pretty much the whole time. Yeah, I've been here pretty much outside of Atlanta. I'm from west of Atlanta, so I'm from like maybe 30 minutes west. You know where Rome is?
Yeah, I know where Rome is.
Yeah, I'm from like right south of Rome. So I have a good drive to the office every day, but I get the same house for $100,000 less, so it works for me.
That is definitely worth it, especially in this
Yeah.
housing market.
Yeah, for sure. The housing is insane. I don't plan on participating in that market for quite a while. But yes, that is interesting. What do you guys think about Atlanta? Do you think Atlanta is the place for your business? You think you're going to stay here?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, Atlanta is not as like overly saturated as like LA and New York when it comes to video content, because we do like to work in film and stuff too. That is one of our main goals, is that we want to create like short films and like feature films and stuff like that. We do that on the side, just kind of as like passion projects and just because it's a good hobby to have. But yeah, Atlanta's the place to be for video content.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially with the way the movie industry is growing, because you always see those industries that need to rely on outside resources when the growth is so present as it has been. And actually, we have a couple of friends in the film industry that I could introduce you to that definitely could take advantage of what it is that you guys do, because they're in the middle of like shooting a movie right now with Takeoff, or excuse me, with Quavo and what's the guy from the Titanic? I can't remember his name. Billy Zane. No, Billy Zane. No, the other guy. Billy Zane, and there's quite a few people in there, and it's pretty cool, and they've got a website for it, but the film industry is definitely growing, and I think that businesses in general, it's more present in their mind to focus on the marketing and video aspect of there, because we do that as well. We have another podcast here. I'll lend you this as well. That's called Soup Sandwich, but that's our
you have
real
two?
that's our entertainment. That's really what started the podcast for us. What I'd say that's what started this, developing the skills that we needed for the podcast. We're always doing business things on Soup Sandwich as well, but we split the brands because it was more coherent message, really, to leave the business side on one thing and what we do on Soup Sandwich. You'll understand when you watch Soup Sandwich.
I was about to say, what would be the difference between these two podcasts, between Soup Sandwich and Burn the Ship?
Oh man, like fire and water. Like, I just got to show you.
Jamie, pull up that video, please.
Point me to Google Chrome. Oh, I pulled up Outlook. Oh no, not Outlook. All right. Oh wait, I guess I could have just signed into Soup Sandwich YouTube. That's got to come out. Copyright stricken. Videos. Here, I'll pull it over here. So, car versus trampoline. This is the guys that I was talking about, actually. If you've seen The Liberator, they do like all these are live action shots, and then they replace it with this animated style through some technology that they developed. But like, this is some of the stuff that we've done, right? All right, so here's a.
You are give me money for gas. Percent winning. Got 'em.
Oh, so this is more like on the go, live kind of content.
Probably got like 10 seconds left, though.
So this is our friend Steven. This is his girlfriend Julie, right? And they're bartenders at Henry's in 1885 in downtown Ackworth, right? And the question was, and she's from New York, and the question was like, what is the only state that ends with the letter K? And what we were doing was telling people, like, if I ask you a question and you get it wrong or you get it right, like, you buy us a beer, right?
Questions, all right? You get them, I'll buy you a beer. Not, you buy me a beer, all right? I'm going to ask this just to you, though, okay? You got a minute to answer it. If you say that was too fucking hard, then I'll buy you the beer, okay? You got 1 minute. The only state that ends with a letter K. You got 1 minute.
I'm trying to think about this right now. I don't even know the answer to this.
Don't look at them.
It's New York. That's where she's from.
You ready? Yeah. New York.
She's from New York and
Uh-huh.
she didn't even get it? Oh my gosh.
Got married definitely at the beginning.
Okay, so all right, here's another one that we did, right? So we would ask people we would tell them we wanted to guess their birthday, right? And all we were doing was like finding someone that we knew in this bar locally, and we would ask them their name, and then we'd look them up on Facebook, right? That's like that's the underlying of how the trick actually happens, right? Is I ask you your name, I look you up on Facebook, everybody's birthday's on Facebook, right? But we're like, walk up, introduce ourselves. We don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, if I can guess your birthday, you buy us a beer, right? And we've already had your beer. We've already had your birthday from Facebook, right?
Definitely at the beginning.
Oh, I'm guessing her anniversary right now as well, because
Excuse me, your birthday. I'm talking.
her birthday.
Somebody's anniversary early. Where do you go for your birthday?
I did guess somebody's anniversary before this too.
We're going to Chattanooga this year.
Chattanooga. Chat Vegas, baby. That's a big clue. All right, it's definitely in February. Do you celebrate Valentine's Day?
All these dumbass questions.
February 9th.
Yeah. Happy early birthday.
I love the GTA text.
Yeah, they're just mind blowing. This is the stuff we do on Soup Sandwich, but like just to draw the path. We started with Soup Sandwich during COVID because we had no one to talk to. I'm pretty sure. I mean, we didn't say that was why, but I think that was why. And we started the podcast. And we were doing like really long form stuff, like bringing our friends there and drinking and enjoying ourselves and things like that. We weren't making content. We were turning the camera on and living our regular life, and it was fun. And we were making content and all those things. But really about kind of the same time that Burn the Ship really started, we really renovated what we were doing with the podcast. And now the content's a lot higher tier versus what it was. Even though the viewership is low, because we focus so much on short form content now or social media, we probably have like 60,000 followers across TikTok and Instagram.
Nice.
So,
I mean, that's impressive. That's nothing to scoff at.
yeah, there's definitely been some growth. I would love for we have like like a little over 9,000, 9,800 subscribers or something like that. And I wish there was more growth to it, but we started that as as our passion project. You know what I mean? And then we've brought those same skills to the business world, and that's kind of what led us to Burn the Ship. So, plus all of the other things that we were experiencing during COVID, and just the lack of one-on-one interaction that we had with people was really detrimental to what our business was. But I would say that was one of our weaknesses, right? Until COVID, we found no value in being present on the internet. We did every bit of our business post handshake, and that's just how it was. That's how our industry was, and there wasn't a lot of change into that. And now it's kind of been renegotiated for us. So what would you guys say at this? Kind of how far you are into your business now? That what were some of the things that you learned from earlier? What are some of the processes that you're still perfecting?
So one thing that we recently learned, similar to you, is that short form content is the way to go. Like people's attention spans these days are so incredibly short because of TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all those reels, that if you don't drag someone's attention or draw someone's attention within the first 10 seconds, they're not going to listen to anything that you have to say.
100%. If you get 10 seconds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we have kind of already known, but are slowly starting to realize that we need to focus on that more. And I would say another sort of challenge that we've learned as a business is that nothing is ever set in stone until it is signed on the paper.
That's a fact.
We've had so many people, hundreds of people, say that they're interested, that they want, oh yeah, let's go, let's start, let's do this right now. And then even some people that we've had genuine conversations with, and then just ghosted us afterwards.
For sure.
It's not the biggest deal. I don't mind having someone tell me no. I mean, it is what it is, but at least just have the decency to just tell us that,
Yeah, people just don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. It's a human thing, not a business thing.
Yeah.
And we see that in our industry more than anything. It's like people, because we're relentless. Our industry has to be relentless as salespeople, especially. You can't let people fall off the map, or your business is so much harder. You don't get a lot of cold call closes and let me see your statement and sign this paper now in our industry much. It takes 7 to 10 touches. What would you say?
I think consistency is really important. I know it's kind of cliche at this point with all the thought leaders and stuff saying the same thing, but honestly, if you whatever you're doing, so even when I'm talking about something like posting on social media, just constantly being consistent with that and not having the exception that by your third post or something, you're going to hit that viral mark.
Sure.
It usually takes time. So I think the more people see that you're actually participating and stuff like that, at some point you'll find your audience. But no matter what your business field is, whatever that action, whatever it is, it's just to be consistent with it for sure.
I can agree with that. I think we have 300 plus short form videos on Instagram, and 8 of those have gone viral. So even the consistency does pay dividends, especially with something pops. But even as consistent as you can ever be, there's only, you have to limit your expectations. You know what I mean? And that I think is an issue with early entrepreneurship, when people expect exponential growth so early, but really sometimes you are experiencing exponential growth. 1 view to 3 views and 3 views to 10 views is exponential growth, even though it doesn't feel like a lot. You know what I mean? You have to start from somewhere. So I could agree with that as well. How are you guys kind of perfecting the consistency now? What's the game plan moving forward? Are you guys going to start putting out some of your own content, or?
100%. That's something that we've recently discussed, within the past 3 months. And Patrick has been doing a lot of this too. We didn't realize that we can kind of just use our older videos to create short form things, just little bits and pieces in that, and just consistently post. Previously we had the mindset of, oh, we need new content to put shorter form content out. We need new stuff to put out on our Instagram posts. But the reality of the fact is we can use older things and just be like, hey, check out this cool clip we shot last year. If you need something similar to this, or if you want to connect, let us know.
Sure.
That's just like Patrick said, being consistent in anything is just the main important factor.
Yeah, and then I've also been sending out monthly newsletters. So
wow.
having
connecting to the people you've already connected with. Yeah,
and so having just a schedule also, at first, starting off with something slower but that has a fairly steady date. So at first I'm going to do the monthly newsletter. At some point, maybe when we start growing a little more, maybe increase that to maybe 2 times a month or something like that, right?
Sure.
And then we're trying to create a schedule of at least once a week posting some kind of video content or any type of content on our social media platforms also.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's funny that we say these things, but it's like the exact thing we want other businesses to do.
Yeah,
And it's like,
exactly.
I don't know, it's sometimes it's
You got to practice what you preach.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Because
So
I mean
true.
we do that. I mean, we do that where we do like a longer form content, so like say a brand video for a company, and then we'll make shorter clips out of that one brand video to be used as ads or something like that. But like for some reason, sometimes it doesn't click like, oh, I should be doing that for myself too.
You should too, and I don't know if everyone experiences this especially, but it goes through my mind because we get approached by, and I'm sure you do too, but like people that sell data, you know, buyer intent data and contact information, all that stuff. We attract those LinkedIn messages all the time. Hey, buy this from us, you know, and
We got that too.
yeah, for
we actually
sure.
Did buy it was something from one of those people just when we were first starting out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I got pitched by a guy that was because we use a system like that. I'll actually show it to you after. It may be very beneficial to you what we do with the system that we use. And I use it exactly the same way you would use it for the podcast and things like that. So that maybe I can fill a gap in your business for you and kind of help you fill the top of the pipeline. But this guy had reached out to me on LinkedIn and was like, "Hey, I represent the number one buyer intent data platform in the world, and I wanted to show it to you and see if you could use it for your business," right? And immediately what went through, and I took the meeting with him specifically for this reason, because the first thing that went through my mind is, if you have the best data in the world that gives you the warmest leads, why are you messaging me on LinkedIn? You know what I mean? You're cold farming me on LinkedIn, and you have the best tool in the world.
That is so true though.
So like that goes through my mind. So I don't know if other people think that. They're like, if you're preaching to people, you know, whatever it may be, but if you're preaching to people content, like, hey, use content grows your business. I think at least posting and practicing what you preach to some extent goes a long way with people that are trying to buy from you. You know what I mean? Because you know, there was a chance that I would have bought from that guy, but that was just the first initial impression that I got in my head. Like, you're not even, you know, you're not using your own system. You know, you don't use your own system to reach out to people and create outreaches. Was just a really, really strange thing to me. So I think it'll be a good thing for your business as well. I definitely think it will. So the way that I always end the podcast, by the way, thank you both for coming. How long have you said January of last year?
Yeah.
So what are your 18 months?
Yep.
Something like that?
Around there.
Yeah. That that is infancy in any industry. You know, you'll hit this wall, right? You'll hit this point where you find your industry, niche down, and crank out content. Like it's usually what happens with successful video and marketing companies in general, and I believe that you guys definitely have it in you because you have much more resources than some people. You know that as well. As some people are doing the same thing that you're doing as a one-man band. You know, it's very, very difficult. Your industry is difficult.
100%.
And it hasn't exactly been made easier by the iPhone.
Definitely not.
Everybody feels they have video at their discretion, you know, so
We like to tell people that though, because if you can create your own video content to like save money, like do it. I mean, you can make films with an iPhone. You can make your own stuff with an iPhone, and if it helps you out, but by all means do it.
yeah, I could agree with that.
Yeah, but at some point, like if you want to increase that level or have help developing, you can say that roadmap, right? Then because there's a strategic element to like how you shouldn't be just throwing, you can say, like crap at the wall and hoping something that sticks. There's definitely like a strategic element to it. So like knowing who your audience is and creating content's like driven to get more of that type of audience. So like that's something we do. But yeah, for sure, like we definitely recommend, like, listen, if you want to start off just doing like FAQ type videos where you're answering questions that potential clients might have, you want to shoot on your iPhone, go for it. But at some point, if you want to create emotional attachment or something, we can definitely help you with that.
What is that onboarding process like for you guys? So like what are some of the questions that you're asking clients before they become clients of yours to make sure that you understand what what type of thinking they're on, so that you guys can create content that kind of speaks their language.
Yeah, so I think first is just asking what their goal, like, so if they reach out to us, it's always, what is the goal for this video? Like, what are you looking to get out of it, right? And then kind of building up from that, I think is the most important thing. Or if they're completely new and they don't want, just kind of asking questions of like, well, okay, in what way do you want to grow your business, right? Like, what are you looking for? What are you hoping for with this video content? And then kind of just building up from there, like, okay, so we might have to go this route, or like, yeah, first try using your cell phone and post some content there just to interact with your audience.
Yeah, for
kind of
sure.
thing. Yeah.
It takes a lot of research as well, just because we're not familiar with every single industry.
Sure.
So we'll have to watch like short form content of the industries that we don't know to get a better understanding of how we can actually help them. Because like I said, the end result is we want our videos to actually be beneficial to people so it can grow their business and help them. Because if we just give them a video and say, here you go, and they post it, it gets 2 views. They don't get any new clients out of it. What good did it even do them?
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand that for sure. And it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Oh, 100%.
And it makes them hate your industry. And it's not your
Yeah.
industry's fault. You know, it's some of the people in your industry, they're coming out of college and they're making high value production, quality material with absolutely no frame of mind as to who's going to be watching it or why they would watch it.
100%.
You know what I mean? And that is, I think school teaches you the technical side of things. You know,
For sure.
It gets very, very technical. My best friend just went through LA Film School, right? He learned a lot of technical stuff. He knows nothing about owning a business. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
that's-
Luckily, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that you can pretty much learn everything you want.
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot of free stuff on there.
Yeah, there
I
is.
think that there's this one good podcast out there called
Yeah.
Burn the Ship,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you can learn from other business owners.
I think there's also a benefit to, I think there's like new opportunities opening up, especially for new business owners too, because even though there are like certain giants that exist out there, like no matter what you think of it politically in general, you can see like the collapse happening between like Bud Light and Target and all
Oh,
these
yeah.
other industries. And so it's definitely opening up an opportunity to reach that, you can say, to reach that market on either side of that political spectrum or that ideological spectrum, or whatever you want to call it, right? So there's definitely like new opportunities. And then even, you know, Disney's not doing too hot and stuff like that either. So, you know, there's just like, clearly they're not meeting the needs of their audience. So like they're available now. Like you have like opportunity to reach millions of people that are looking for maybe like an animation, for example, that can finally be entertained by, that maybe Disney's not hitting anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so I view all those things, you know, some people might say like, oh, everything's collapsing, there's no point, right? I view those as like opportunities to like reach into those marketplaces.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
As you should. And it's I inquire mentally as to why take a stance for those companies in general. Like from a business perspective, why even pick a direction? You know what I mean? Like there are so many opportunities for you to reach into a market without alienating another market.
100, yeah,
And
definitely.
and that is obviously something that goes through your mind and your process when you're talking to people, is like, I think we can touch one market without shitting on our other market. You know what I mean? That's a strange thing in business to me, the way that people's thoughts and emotions influence what people buy. But it's the reason your industry exists. You know what I mean? The reason that videography and photography and marketing is so prevalent in 2023 for small businesses, because people do buy emotionally. You know, people do see a piece of content that inspires them to buy or purchase XYZ. Like, that is the reason that your industry exists. That's the reason that you guys are going to make a lot of money, is because you understand that the questions that you ask before you ever turn your camera on are more important than what you do, post turning your camera on. And that's why you tell people they can shoot content with their iPhone, because if there is no direction, there's no direction, So it's a very, very strange thing. It's a very, very strange landscape right now, and I just feel like it's creating massive opportunity in the production space
For sure.
for people to decide the direction of their content until they understand their market, And you're talking about like reaching into those markets, right? I think in business, like, you half your market, and then you quarter your market, and then you you find a 10th of your market, then you find a 100th of your market, and that's when you find your niche, right? It's
That's
like,
currently what we're kind of in the process.
yeah,
in.
exactly. And there is no way to do it other than just trying a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You just got to try stuff.
We've recently kind of considered that we want to like hopefully niche into like the health and fitness industry because that's something all three of us are already passionate about. Like I like to do that on the side, just make like some fitness content, just trying to inspire people to work out and get healthier. So since I'm already passionate about that, it's going to be even easier to help people who are also similarly passionate about that and help them and just grow together.
Sure. Well, I just met a guy that owns like 100 Alloy Personal Fitnesses the other day. He did the podcast. So his is coming out tomorrow at 1:00. You should check him out and then reach out to him and tell him you heard about him from the podcast, and I'll absolutely take a meeting with you.
I definitely want to.
His name's Rick Mayo.
Rick Mayo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also want your recommendations for any other video people you've ever had, so we can watch and hopefully learn from them as well.
Yeah, we definitely have some people. I have a guy that I'll connect you with named Justin that he actually does drone shows now, hot wing drone shows is kind of what he does, and he's a videographer by trade, and he's an excellent videographer by trade, honestly, because he is very meticulous about why do you want a video, and if you can't tell him why you want a video, he won't shoot it. You know what I mean? Because he's like, I'm not putting a video out there for you to post one time and it get no traction, then you hate me. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's something that I did want to
yeah.
mention. There's like some skit that I saw that was so funny because it was like this meeting with a company. They're like, we want a video, and the guy was like, all right, so what do you want this video to do? They're like, to go viral.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, that's kind of just dependent on algorithm, and if a lot of people watch it, and they're like, well, if it doesn't go viral, we don't want it.
yeah, no, I get that.
No, yeah, but that kind of goes back a little bit into my point of it's important. Like, you don't want to just throw video out just for the sake of throwing out
Definitely
video,
not.
right? Like, you want to be,
It just muddies the water.
yeah, you want to have like a purpose behind it, because then, if I give you the video and you paid for it and you're like, well, it didn't get me any leads, it didn't get me anywhere. And so then you hate me, and you're like, and then you're telling
And
people,
you hate every videographer.
Yeah,
You're telling all your friends never hire a videographer
exactly,
ever,
yeah.
which is crazy.
yeah, you're
It's
telling
so-
everyone else like video is pointless, like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But
And what
Yeah.
we've been talking about, it's all about consistency. So you got to be consistent with video content too. Like if the first one doesn't hit, just keep throwing those darts until you hit the target, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And find a small one. Aim
Yeah.
small. Find a very specific target, and figure out if that's the target for you. So the way that I always end the podcast, if we have people that want to connect with you, want to buy something from you, want to work with you, all of those things, how do they find you? How do they get a hold of you guys?
So you can check out all of our work on ripplevideos.com. You can contact any of us on LinkedIn. My name is Curt Hughes, CurtHughes, and
yeah, so the website, and then it's Patrick, Patrick, and then Blonsky, Balonski. We're both on there. We have a big Ripple banners on our thing, so we should be pretty easy to find.
And I also want to say, like, you don't necessarily need to like buy a video. If you just want to know how you can make video content by yourself to see how it works out, hit up any of us, and we'll give you tips on how to film it, how to like make it more engaging from what we've learned to the audience, and kind of what age group you should be looking at and stuff like that, because we are very knowledgeable about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can see that. I can see just the fact that you're answering the questions, that you've done this before. You're kind of stepping into your own, and you're stepping into your own business not because you know how to use your camera. You know how to use your brain. You understand a little bit of small business, so which is very, very beneficial to the people that we're talking to, especially because businesses are used to paying for things, and honestly, businesses are used to them not going great, which is a weird thing to say, but it happens. It definitely happens. The last thing I wanted to talk about was burning the ship. Tell me what it feels like. That light switch moment where you decide I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going all in until I make it work. There is no going back. What does it feel like? And by the way, I don't know if we said this when the camera was on or not, but you said this when you started your business.
So,
Tell me that story too.
well, I did. So at first, as we all left, it wasn't like we all immediately started Ripple. So we were all kind of freelancing separately on different projects, sometimes together. But our friend Zane got us that contract with Aya Medical Spa, and at that point, it looked like we were like it was happening. We were all working on the Ripple videos and things like that. So I made a promise, like I announced it. I was like, I am on this ship for good, and I am gonna sink. Like I'm gonna sink with this ship, or I'm not gonna make it. Like
You said we're gonna live or die with this company.
Yeah, I'm gonna live or die with this company. And so every once in a while, like we're in like a slow phase right now for sure. So like for me at least, there's a little bit of a panic, but. You know, sometimes text something and I'm like, I feel like Captain Jack Sparrow right now when that ship was sinking as he was like putting into port.
But steps on the dock off of the
but I'm like, yeah. So like, I mean, it's a good thing too. It puts a little bit of, you can say like a fire under my ass, so that I, you know, we're to continue to develop a plan and being more proactive and stuff like that for sure. But yeah, I mean, I've been in so many, what's it called, like corporate jobs and things like that, and I'm like, this is not for me. I need to just do like my own, like I really want to do my own thing. And so like that's why I was like, I can't be doing this constantly hopping back and forth. I was like, I'm going down with this ship or I'm not gonna make it. Yeah.
Well, you can't get fired now.
Yeah, I mean, similar to what he was saying, I mean, me personally, throughout my entire life, I've been super focused on just like self-development. Like in my earlier years, I wasn't too happy with myself, so I'm just always looking for something to challenge myself. So running a business, I mean, obviously is one of the most challenging things that you can do as a person. And not only that, I'm someone who likes to learn from my mistakes. You know, you get those kind of dopamine hits once you don't know something and then you figure it out and then you keep going and just push through that adversity. So that's to me, it's scary because sometimes you're out of work for like a month or two and you're like, we really need to reach out to more people and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you just keep consistent with it and it succeeds, it just keeps you pushing forward and keeps making you want to do it. So that's for me just the main thing. I just love like challenging myself, and it's just one of the biggest challenges that you can ever do in your life, in my opinion.
Well, I hope we get to do this again, you know, in a year, and we get to look back and laugh at how at the panic that sets in.
Hey,
you know?
We're right there with you.
No, I literally hope we get to look back and laugh and say, oh, what were we ever worried about? You know what I mean? That'll be a good moment for me. We'll sit in here and drink a glass of scotch or something like that, and celebrate our success over 12 months. I'm going to chat with you a little bit after this because I think I got some stuff that can help you with the top of the pipeline stuff.
Yeah, I definitely want to pick your brain. Like, I know it's your podcast, so you're supposed to ask us the questions, but I'd love to get to know you as well.
Oh, no, that's cool. That's cool. It's just they hate me. You know, they're sick of me. The people behind the camera are just so sick of me. They're here for the guests. Like 200 episodes here, and this guy tells the same stories. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, all right, and I love you guys too. This has been Burn the Ship. Thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much.